Hey, what's up everybody? Danny here with The Neighbor's Kitchen, and thanks for hanging out with me today. Several months ago I received my Instant Pot Pro, and on the channel we unboxed it, kind of did an initial checkout of it, and then we made a meal with it. But ever since then I've really got to know this thing, and spoiler alert, I love it. So in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Instant Pot Pro. Give you a good walk around the unit, talk about some of its specifications. We're going to come around to the front here and talk about the functions and programs included with this unit. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about care and maintenance for one of these bad guys. Then we're going to cook dinner in a real world situation. I think I've crafted a recipe that's really going to flex the muscles of the Instant Pot Pro. And then we're going to sit down and talk about who this may or may not be for. So thanks so much for being here. Let's check this thing out. All right, so here we go. Here is the Instant Pot Pro multi-cooker. This one is a 6-quart, but it also comes, if you are interested in going bigger, in a 7.5 quart and an 8 quart. So there we go. It's this beautiful kind of, all the plastic is black. This is black stainless steel. Cleans up real nicely. This stores really nice in bottom cabinets, and you can see our control panel has a nice large LCD display with some of the function buttons. We'll get into those here just shortly. And it comes with a dial that also presses. It is a US standard plug for a 15 amp outlet. And this uses a max of 1200 watts. I'll start here at the top. This is the lid. So the steam release mechanism, this is nice. This is your diverter. If you're doing an immediate release, this won't just get your ceiling all wet. And then if you are an older Instant Pot user, you'll notice that this does not have a thumb tab. They've migrated that over there. See that cantilever that comes out? This is quite nice. The thumb tab, you could easily burn the tip of your thumb a little bit, so they've kind of made this remote. Bottom, that's venting, and you see it pushes up. And then up here is for seal. And then with this attached here, you're not going to make a huge mess, especially if you accidentally put it under an upper cabinet. This is super nice, big fan of that. And then on top of that, when you are releasing your steam, the Instant Pot Pro comes with a nice size condensation catcher. I'm a big fan of this. Never had it overflow. So we'll just slip that guy back on there. And while we're talking about the lid, one of the new features on the Instant Pot Pro is this guy here. So this just lifts up, and you have this exposed stainless steel section here called the Quick Cool feature. Now there is an ice pack that is shaped to go in here. I have not purchased it yet because I haven't needed it quite yet. I'd like to play with it one day. But what this is for is if you are cooking a recipe such as, say, something like fish that's relatively delicate and you don't want an elongated release time, as soon as your pressure cook is up, you can throw that on top to cool it nice and rapidly, not overcooking your fish. And I'm sure there's other scenarios. That's just one of the ones that I thought of. Let's go ahead and put this back on and check out the inside. So, the lid just twists off counterclockwise, and then you can pull up nice and easily. And the first thing that you see is this nice Instant Pot 6-quart insert with silicone handles. These handles are what Instant Pot has been missing for years. So hallelujah, folks. It is here. I love this. Not only do the silicone handles make it safe to pick up when it's hot, and it really works. I'm not just joking. But it locks this thing in there. So if you are sauteing or if you are stirring something slow cooked, it's not going to twist around on you. On the older models, you'd have to get a hot mitt, and you'd have to hold it with like this, and then you'd have to do that. Not a deal breaker by any means, but this is a major upgrade in my opinion. I love it. So major win on the insert. You can see here the inside of our lid. We have our ring. This is a silicone ring here. And this is just what keeps the pressure in. This seals around the lip. Yep. This here is the bottom of the pressure release valve. Don't have to mess with that. That's attached. And this little guy here is your pressure indicator. So that's the bottom of this guy. So if I push that up, that means you are pressurized. You would have it in a sealed position. If you're doing a quick release, you go ahead and switch to vent. It goes like that. And that's when you can, when it goes down like that, that's when you can unhook the lid, take it off, and do what you will with your meal. You might have seen me take out the Trivet as well. This is not an upgrade. This comes with your unit. This is a Trivet here, and it just sits in here like that. Use that if you want to keep whatever it is you're cooking out of liquid. Alternatively, and this is something I use frequently as a single guy, if you want to put like a pot in there, you elevate the pot off the bottom, so you put your liquid in the bottom, and then you put like a Pyrex dish. If you want to do, my favorite thing is personally like a small batch of rice. Works perfectly. That is included. The other thing that is included with a brand new Instant Pot Pro is it does come with 2 silicone rings. One of them is colored red, and the other one is kind of translucent like that. And that is not an accident. It is recommended that you separate the 2 for different styles of cooking. For example, you set aside the red one for sweet and the translucent one aside for savory, just so that you don't kind of get off, not really flavors, but more scents, because it's humid and under pressure. Keep all your stuff in line. And alternatively, they're the same thing, they're just colored. If you cook the same exact dish with your Instant Pot, you can just use this as a backup should this one wear out. Before we get too far away from the Trivet, I do want to show you one thing. Now, there are numerous upon numerous accessories available for this Instant Pot and all the other ones, but one of my favorites has been the steamer baskets. So these store nice inside each other, kind of like those Russian egg dolls or whatever they're called. But these here just place right in there. You put a little bit of liquid at the bottom, and you can use the steam function or pressure cook. Put your vegetables in there. Boom, steamed vegetables in just a portion of the time that it would take you if you were steaming them on the stove. These are an upgrade. They're not included with the unit, but while we were talking about the Trivet, I thought it'd be a good time to mention these. Now, let's move on. All right, let's migrate over to the front of the unit now and talk about what functions and programs are included with the Instant Pot Pro. Now, this is what they consider a 10-in-1 multi-cooker. So if you are here looking for your first pressure cooker, I want to give you a little bit of reassurance, and I just don't want you to be intimidated, because all of these buttons and features, they're just different coins of the same currency. They basically do the same thing, but they're actually set up to give you ease and a little bit of a shortcut in just getting to what it is you're cooking dialed in without having to memorize it. So let's go ahead and review those real quick. Go ahead and get it plugged in so you can see the dial. There we go. When you plug it in, it goes straight to off. And in order to trigger the display to give us our options, let's just start over here. This top one is pressure cook. You can see we have some pretty neat features here. And I know this might look a little complicated, but once I walk you through it, you're going to understand it a whole lot more. So let's talk about these main functions real quick. When I said different coins of the same currency, you basically have these separated in 2 different categories. either of these pressure cook or they do not pressure cook. So the ones where you would pressure cook, that is when you use this lid set to sealing, are obviously pressure cook, rice grain, and steam. Okay, that's these three right here. The rarest of the buttons are all features where we do not set the lid to sealing. You can still use your pressure cooker lid, but you always leave it to venting so that you do not build up pressure. That will confuse the settings and you're not going to get everything cooking. However, there is a pretty cool option for all of the other features. Fits in there nice. It's got a little vent hole on here so it doesn't build up on condensation, and you can see what's going on in there. This is also not included. This is an additional accessory. But the functions that you do not use for pressure cooking are saute. We're going to use that later tonight. If you slide on over here, you got slow cook, sous vide. This is the main reason I upgraded to it. We'll talk about that later. Yogurt, I've never used that. And bake. All of those, you do not use the pressure cooking lid. So now you might be wondering why so many? Well, as I kind of explained a little bit earlier, this is to give you peace of mind and ease. You don't have to memorize settings. Now check some of this out. So if we go over here and we hit pressure cook, it automatically goes into custom, which if we hit the selection button, it immediately goes to pressure, where we have the option of high and low. And then if we hit it again, it gives us full control over how long we're pressure cooking for. And if we hit it again, it takes us down to the reminder. I usually keep mine at off, but you have the options to remind you 5 minutes before it finishes or 10 minutes before it finishes. We're going to put that back to off. And then if you hit it again, nothing's blinking. You can hit start or not. We're going to hit cancel so we can go through some more of these. Next one, rice grain, custom. All of these have custom, so I'm not going to have to mention that again. But if you go over, it just gives you presets. White rice, suggesting 12 minutes. And if you go through it, you have your reminder again. Or white rice blinking. Goes down to brown rice, preset to 30. Steam's pretty straightforward. You got temperature, high and low for 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is more for sanitize than anything. Saute also does not have presets. Pretty much put it on saute, pick your temperature. Saute does have custom. You have 5 levels of heat. Hit it again, pick your time. All right, let's go over here to slow cook now. So 4 hours is the last thing I cooked on custom. If we go to the dial, comes over here to soup, and it's suggesting 6 hours on high. Chicken, 4 hours on high. Beef, 6 hours on high. Beans, 8 hours on high. Quick note on high on the slow cook setting on these. There is some confusion on the internet. I myself have found myself in this confusion. I got rid of all my crock pots and only have Instant Pot multi-cookers now. In a moment of acute dyslexia, I really jumbled up some words when trying to explain the slow cook settings on the Instant Pot Pro, so we're going to give it a quick redo. When you go over here to your slow cook setting and you bypass all the Instant Pot presets by clicking the button, here you have high and low. That's it. There's no in between. You just have high and low, and of course, your completely adjustable time frame. Now here is the thing, okay? The Instant Pot multi-cooker, the entire series, is not the same as a crock pot. So if you are trying to convert a crock pot recipe to an Instant Pot Pro slow cook recipe, Here's the deal. High on the Instant Pot is actually, and buckle your seatbelts, much more like low on a crock pot. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it is true. This just has the heating element on the bottom versus the entire crock surround has elements in it. Plus, this is a stainless steel insert versus the porcelain ceramic one that comes with the crock pot. So, if you are trying to reduce the amount of gadgets in your kitchen and want to kick the crock pot to the curb in place of your Instant Pot multi-cooker, just keep that in the back of your head. So, now that you have this information, you might be wondering what to do with it. All right, so let's be honest. All of us have crock pot recipes. The crock pot's been around for much longer than the Instant Pot multi-cooker. So, if you're converting a crock pot recipe, stay on high for low. If you're using a crock pot recipe that calls for high, what do? Maybe play around with the saute setting. It's the same thing, but on the Instant Pot Pro, remember we have those 5 settings, okay? So you can play with that. Alternatively, if you download the Instant app on your mobile phone, there's hundreds and hundreds of recipes. Not all of them are for slow cook, but if you actually use a recipe by Instant for the slow cook setting on this, well, now you don't have to change a single thing. So I hope that information helps you out there. Now, back to the original video. So there you go. That's how you get on slow cook. Sous vide, this is one of my favorite functions of the Instant Pot Pro. All these things here, chicken, 2 hours, beef, 2 hours, egg, 30 minutes. Just stay here on custom for sous vide. This is the really neat part. This is one of the advanced features of the Instant Pot Pro. Remember on saute, when we could adjust it into 5 different categories? There's something about the sensor in the Instant Pot Pro that really knows what temperature this is over the baby cousins of the pressure cooker lineup. So this is pretty cool. You pick your temperature, 150. I was doing chicken this weekend. Did 150 for a few hours, then I took it out, finished it on a very hot skillet to bring it up to 165. Came out great. Yogurt. I don't know anything about making yogurt. I've never tried it. I don't really desire to try it. If this is something that interests you, I know that this is kind of a program, and if you download the Instant Pot app on your phone, it tells you all about this. But this has some kind of program in it that will like boil things, let you culture things, sanitize. I don't know, but this 8 hours is like some intelligent program. I'll let you guys do with that what you will. I'm no expert on yogurt. The last one here is bake, and the presets are cheesecake and bread. Here you have high, low. Once again, that's just something you got to play with. I have never played with this either. But it's there. It's just another version of slow cooking. So like I said, you have pressure cook settings, non-pressure cook settings. That just kind of give you a wide array of all sorts of functions. It's truly a versatile machine. I love it. Now let's head back over to the unit and talk about those other buttons. Let's go over here and do a mock trial of pressure cooking. So this is actually something I do every week. So if you go here, see chicken, 20 minutes. Pretty accurate. Beef, 30. Egg, 5. Sterilized, 10. Beans, 20. So let's go back here to custom. Let's say that you found something that worked perfectly for you. You want high pressure, but it worked perfectly for you at, say, 13 minutes. let's say you did not have your reminder on, so it's flashing off. Now you don't want to have to go through what we just went through every time. You have your favorites here. Now I already have my first two favorites set, so let's go ahead and use favorite number 3. We're going to press and hold. Boom, set. So now, if we go ahead and cancel this, let's say this is off. I go ahead and plug it in. Boop, comes off. Let's just say we're over here. You accidentally hit the sous vide button. Whatever that dish is that worked perfectly for 13 minutes, we're gonna go ahead, hit Fav 3, and it goes right back to that setting. Custom, high, 13, reminder off. Do that for anything in here, and you load up your favorites. My favorite one here is for shredded chicken. Fav 2 is for hard-boiled eggs. And now Fav 3 is a fake recipe that we made together on YouTube for 13 minutes. Other buttons, once you get everything configured on here, this is empty currently, so we're not actually going to hit it. You do have to hit start. You can't just leave it and it automatically goes like previous models of Instant Pots. You have to hit the start button. Before you hit the start button, you can choose to have keep warm on. That's what this little LED indicator is. What this is it will go through a preheat process. That's the other thing I forgot to mention about the screen. This is a major upgrade from the lower model Instant Pots. This will actually show you here as it's preheating. Here, this 13 minutes, say if we hit start, it would preheat, this would stay at 13 minutes. Cooking, this would be the duration of your 13 minutes. And then keep warm, this only works if you have this on. So let's say you do keep warm off, it won't go into here. This will beep after 13 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes if you have your reminder on. And then you either do a natural release or a quick release, and you are done. I think the only button we haven't talked about yet is this delay start. I don't know why you would ever use a delayed start on some of these pressure cooker ones, but perhaps on all these non-pressure ones, you absolutely would. For example, if you wanted to slow cook for 4 hours and you have an 8-hour work day, you go ahead, hit delay start, and I don't know, maybe you have an 8-hour workday with a half an hour commute. So half an hour there, 8 hours working. You got that. Oops, sorry, I was talking too much. 5, hit the select button. You know that it's working because of the green button. So this will delay for 5 hours and then slow cook for 4. And 4 hours, it turns off the high temperature, goes to keep warm, automatically hands off, completely automated. It's great. This thing, I love it. I think I've covered all the functions and programs pretty well. Sorry if I missed anything. Happy to answer questions in the comments below. Now let's talk about care and maintenance of the Instant Pot Pro. All right, so care and maintenance of the Instant Pot Pro, pretty simple. It's not like a classic car or even a pellet grill. Not a whole lot to do. The lid, dishwasher safe. All you do is you take the diffuser off and you take the pressure release valve off. You put these in the top rack of the dishwasher, and that way your dishwasher can get any grimies and stuff out of here. You do take, just like so, the silicone seal out, and this can go in your top rack as well. This goes, I usually put it face down on the top rack, let everything spray up there and clean it out nice. And you just want to make sure that this is nice and dry before you reinstall it and cook with it again. The stainless steel liner is also dishwasher safe. Silicone handles hold up in the dishwasher real well. It is that same high heat resistant silicone as the sealing ring. The included Trivet is the same stainless steel, and cleans up just as well in the dishwasher. That's pretty easy, isn't it? The condensation catcher, also dishwasher safe. You just put it in there upside down so any fat or grease that collects in the bottom has a chance to disintegrate, fall down, and go through the drain. No big deal. And the base unit is also, I'm kidding. The base unit is not dishwasher safe. It is black stainless steel, so it cleans up nicely. You just want to go ahead and use like a microfiber cloth or soft cloth, paper towel, something like that. A little bit of mild detergent like Dawn, and just keep it away from the dial. Clean up any fingerprints or loose food. It'll keep nice and black and shiny sleek for years to come. Now, you guys did see me unbox this not but just a few months ago, and really the only thing that you have to keep an eye on is the silicone ring. Now, this is a bit of a safety concern, not necessarily for sake of this thing failing or anything, but if it doesn't keep pressure in, your food isn't going to cook, and if you're just kind of expecting 20 minutes to cook your chicken, it may not. You want this to seal fully. So you can see here, this is relatively new. It's not sliding around. It has a little bit of play because it needs to seal around the liner. So this is good. Now let me show you a bad one. This is the lid to my old Instant Pot. I still have it. It still works. These things don't wear out. And this is a tattered and torn silicone ring. You can see it's a little bit discolored. Been using it for 8 or 9 years at this point. This is a discontinued model. Can't remember if I said that. But here, can you see how it wants to slide around the whole thing on its own while it's installed? This is no good. That's not what you want. That is when you know it is time to replace this. See how easy that just comes out? This is time to go to the trash. Super easy. For not a whole lot of dollars, you can get a 2-pack. So you take a new one out. I do still use this. I have 2 6-quart models. You just place one side in with a finger, and then with your thumb, slide it in like this. There you go, baby. Refurbished just like new. There are an awful lot of third-party off-brand silicone rings available on that Jungle website that we all use. I would recommend sticking with Instant. The Instant brand is top-notch. I have 4 Instant Pots, and when I say I have 4 Instant Pots, I have not replaced 3, and this is my 4th. I have all 4. All 4 work. 1 needs to go on Marketplace. 4 is too many.
What?
But I recommend sticking with Instant brand. I do recommend sticking with OE products, especially for something like this. I will put a link to this down below, and if you have a different size Instant Pot, you just click your size, get a 2-pack, just have that on hand, cooks better, and everything is well. I do believe I've rambled on enough about this magnificent machine. Let me get some ingredients out and let's do a real world cook. We're gonna make some dinner. Let's get cooking. All right, I think I have everything out and ready for us. Now in this segment of the video, don't pay too much attention to the recipe. As I mentioned earlier, this I kind of threw together. This is an amalgamation of a couple different recipes to really kind of show the flexibility of this machine. We're going to use the saute setting, followed by the pressure cook setting, followed by the saute setting again to make, what am I calling this? The working title is Instant Pot Creamy Garlic Chicken. So if it looks good, let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a video simply on this. So we do not need the lid as we are starting out with saute. We do not need the Trivet. And now you can see we're starting with it off. It is plugged in. Duh. But we're going to hit the saute button. You can see here, this is probably the last time I used the saute. We're going to go high temperature. Remember, we can adjust it custom. but I want high. We're gonna leave it at 20 minutes. Probably won't need 20, but when we're done, we can just hit the cancel button, no problem. I'm going to hit this one more time. Nothing is flashing, meaning we are good to go. I'm gonna hit the start button, and it goes to on. And you can see our first bar here is preheating. It'll go 1, 2, 3. We'll probably add oil when it's flashing here. And then this is our 20 minutes. We're going to brown some chicken thighs and then carry on. Here we go. All right, it's not been but a couple of minutes, and you can see we're on the last sector of preheating, and that is because the Instant Pot Pro has 1200 watts of power, over 1000 watts of power from its baby cousins. So before we get to the cooking cycle, we're going to add just a little bit of avocado oil. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's shimmering nicely. So now we're just waiting for this to finish preheating, and then we are going to brown our chicken thighs. We're not looking to cook them all the way quite yet. We're just going to give it a little extra texture. You will see me using my silicone coated tongs. With this being a stainless steel insert, you do not need to use silicone, but these are what I had today. Everything else is dirty. There we go. It flashes hot. Our 20-minute timer sets. And now we are set to start browning our chicken. And you see how nice and shimmering that is? About 4 minutes aside. Nice and browned. We're going to put these over here. All this stuff here. Don't worry about that. We're going to get that up in just a moment. We're going to leave the saute function on. I'm going to put in my butter. Just get this spread around. We're going to put in some onion. Some mushrooms. Look at this. I don't have to hold it because it's just staying in place on its own. I'm going to let everything soften with the lid on. I'm going to add some chicken broth. I'm just going to go around and make sure that we get all that fond into our recipe. That is actually deliciousness. Now I'm going to add our browned chicken back on top. This is just browned to help keep moisture in while we pressure cook. These are not fully cooked yet. So we're going to put all 4 on top. You can see here we've got a boil, and that is because we're on high. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit cancel. I'm going to grab the lid. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. There we go. It goes on at this tab. This is the index for the lid. Goes on here, twists close to this index here. We're going to go, it's currently on seal, so we're set up. This is in. That's the little indicator I was telling you about. Our silicone ring is inside. We were on saute. We finished. We hit cancel. We're going to go to pressure cook. We're going to use custom because this is for chicken that's not been browned. So with this flashing, I'm going to hit my selector button. I do want high temperature. We're going to hit the selector again. We want 7 minutes this time. I'm not going to set this as a favorite yet because we don't know if this recipe is going to work. We do not need keep warm on. I'm going to hit start. It goes on. And once again, we go through the preheating process. This will be our 7 minutes. Once this is up, I will do an instant release, and then we will finish building our dinner. All right, we're coming down to our final minute here. You can see we have made it here. And remember, I turned off keep warm. I want to show you something about that real quick. Okay. Because we did not have keep warm on, it directly goes to end. Should you have put keep warm on, this timer would actually reset from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it would start counting up, so that if your recipe said something about a 5-minute natural release, keep warm maintains the pressure in here for 5 minutes, and then you do that. Some recipes will be like 5, 10, 20-minute natural release. Some will even say a natural release until all pressure is gone. We're not going to do that. We're at end of our 7 minutes. You can see here we still have pressure. We're going to go ahead, see, we're in the sealed position. We're going to go ahead and bring it down to vent. And look at that nice diverted steam. There we go. Once our indicator has indicated that pressure has been released, we can twist it off. You know that it is ready by your index marks. And we'll pull the lid off. We are done with that for today. I'm going to go ahead and remove our chicken. Our chicken is cooked at this point, so I can use my wooden cutting board. Yeah, this is just falling apart. That's how you know that it's done. Now this is where we're going to finish it out. So we're actually going to use low heat. Not sure how long it's going to take, so I'm just going to set it to 20. If it finishes before then, we can always hit cancel. Without anything blinking, we're good to hit start. There we go. We're almost to the end. We're going to let this finish preheating come up to a full simmer. Add our final ingredients and then see if this is a recipe worth repeating. Either way, we certainly tested some of the features and functions of the Instant Pot Pro. I'll see you guys in just a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Instant Pot creamy garlic chicken is complete. We are back on keep warm now that everything is done. If you're just now clicking on this chapter, we started out by browning with the saute function on high. Then we pressure cooked with the base of our recipe and our chicken thighs to cook the chicken thighs nice and tender and perfectly all the way through. We then removed the chicken thighs. We started building everything nice together by melting it on the saute function again on low. And that brings us to here. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab one of these chicken thighs like that. We got some sauce, mushroom. I'm going to go where this guy was laying. Grab some more. I want to make sure to get some of that good spinach. There we go. Look at that. Nice and creamy. I'm dying to get my hands on some of the sauce. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, guys, this recipe is quite literally tailor-made for this video, but you do need to try this at home. And I hope that you do. I hope that you found this video informative and entertaining. I love my Instant Pot Pro. The Pro is the designation of an Instant Pot lineup. It is part of a series. You can get currently, at the date of recording, the Instant Pot Duo, which is currently / previously the baby cousin of the Instant Pot Pro. The Instant Pot Duo is currently being phased out to the Instant Pot Rio series. Now this series, if you look on their website, is their line of Instant Pot multi-cookers that are not Wi-Fi enabled. So if you see things like Pro Max, that is usually Wi-Fi enabled. I typically steer clear of anything that is Wi-Fi enabled because all my other stuff is Wi-Fi enabled, and somewhere there's a threshold of stuff that doesn't need to be smart. I'm getting a little bit beyond the point. So, to finish out the video, I want to talk about who is the Instant Pot Pro for. Well, first off, it is for anybody and everybody. It is a great tool. It is not that much more expensive over the Duo or the Rio, but specifically if you are looking to spend that extra money, this is more powerful. It heats up quicker. With the added features of the quick cool lid, you can cool things quicker should you want to. This is certainly something for somebody who wants to get into sous videing. The other options do not have the precise temperature control that this one does to add the sous vide function. Additionally, whatever mechanism that adds the sous vide function to this one also gives it the control on the saute setting for those 5 different settings. All the other models are low and high only. So if you're looking to upgrade, this is a great option. If you're looking for your first one and you are never going to use sous vide, and maybe you don't care about the precise temperature control, maybe you look at the other one. Either way, I hope you found this video helpful. I will put a link to all of this series in the description below, including some of my favorite accessories. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure to comment below. Let me know if you want to see a dedicated video to this recipe. Thanks guys. See you next time.